So, again, for folks who might be new to the space, we are the Black Doctor Creative. The Black Doctors Creative was used to, our mission is to amplify the multifaceted brilliance of Black doctors by bridging the gap between academic excellence and creative expression. And the reason that we started this group really was because I feel like I've run into a lot of Black folks who have their doctors, whether PhD, JD, MD, EDD, DBA, and I was like, you know what? They were also in the creative space. So for me, like I do TV, I do film and things like that. And I saw other brothers and sisters who were in that same space. And I was like, it would be dope for us to just come together and just vibe and connect. People who were also like, nobody had egos, but everybody was down to earth and just cool. And I was like, it would really be cool for us to just get together and brainstorm and just, build with one another and grow. Because I feel like so often, because LA is so spaced out and so decentralized, you have pockets. You have a pocket here, you have a pocket there, but just a central space for folks to come together and just really build that community is something that myself and the other co-founders of this group decided to come and just build together. So with that, co-founders, so that's me. I'm Tim. I am finishing up my PhD next month, finally. Appreciate you. And then we have Dr. Dominique Lavelle Page. He'll be on his way. But he got his PhD in business psychology. We have the good brother, future Dr. Brian Berlong right here as well. Get his PhD in literature over at USC. We got Lea Washington as well. Earned her JD over at Harvard Law. We have, let me put some respect on people's names. We have Dr. Lea Washington. We have Dr. Bernard Reyes, who also earned his PhD at UCLA in the Higher Education and Organizational Change Program. We have very soon, it's coming up in April, Dr. Dine, earned her PhD in biomedical engineering. Amazing group of people I'm surrounded around. I feel like it's a blessing. And then last but certainly not least, we have the good doctor, the good MD, Dr. Preston over here representing H-Town. Yeah, so UT Medical and his residency over at UCLA as well. So for me, I feel very fortunate to be around some other amazing, talented, creative Black folks who have their doctors in different spaces. So one of the things that we want to continue to do is just demystify earning a doctorate, and then also talk about the things that you can do as you have that doctorate. So these are our 4 pillars right here: creative liberation. This is not work good on the TV, but y'all can remember. Narrative reimagination, collaborative synergy, and then aspirational mentorship. So we have an amazing group of folks who are going to come up here and engage in dialogue. I'm very excited. But we have our panelists. So our first panelist, who I'm going to call up, is Dr. Everybody's a doctor up here. So Dr. Sophia. Yeah. Dr. Sophia. Welcome. Oh man, let me read your bio. Let me put some respect in your name. So Dr. Sophia is a 3rd-year dermatology resident physician at University of California, Irvine. And a full-time content creator. So check out her TikToks. I'm sure she's gonna talk about that as well. She shares her passion for beauty, particularly skincare, with her patients and followers. Whether it's prescribing medication or recommending the latest and greatest, her main goal is for you to feel comfortable in your skin. Your skin is glowing, so. As a Sephora Squad alumni and recent skincare creator of the year, she's been able to take her content game to the next level while preparing to graduate dermatology in just 4 months. Can you give a round of applause for that? She's prepared to share her insights with everyone and looking forward to making connections. So we appreciate you. Next up, we have the good doc over here in his cheek, looking fly, looking cool, Dr. Lamar Johnson. So Dr. Lamar Johnson, he's into storytelling, screenwriting, and racial justice. I actually met him when I was an undergraduate student at Michigan State. He was one of my mentors, my professors, and then invited me to one of my organizations. But Dr. Lamar Johnson was a former tenured English professor at Michigan State, and his work centers the Black experience. Now he is able to translate his research into compelling visuals that explore masculinity, identity, friendships, family dynamics, joy, and love. His storytelling and scripts are guided by the belief that imagination is a radical act. He's just not here to entertain. He's here to expand what's possible on screen. So, Dr. Johnson, we appreciate you much. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have one of our co-founders, Dr. Lea Washington. Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis, Indiana, that time. She is a multi-instrumentalist, songwriter, producer, and actor who is the first person in recent history to graduate from Berklee College of Music and Harvard Law School. Inspired by her passion to make legal help affordable and accessible for creators, Lea founded the startup Contract Eye, combining AI and real human review to provide education for creators everywhere. Lea currently works for a Black-owned entertainment law firm while studying for the bar, working on releasing more music and refining the perfect pizza dough in her time. You gotta make some pizza. For sure. All right, y'all. Well, again, I want to give y'all a round of applause. Appreciate y'all pulling up. And we're just gonna jump straight into it. So, first one, and anybody can take this, but I'm really curious, what inspired you to pursue an advanced degree?
So I always wanted to be a physician. I didn't know what kind of physician I wanted to be. But like in medical school, I originally wanted to do orthopedic surgery. I played basketball in college and also in Germany. Ich spreche kein Deutsch.
Ja, natürlich. Ich spreche Deutsch auch.
So I actually played professional basketball to raise enough money to apply to medical school. And then when I got into medical school, I didn't have a lot of mentorship in orthopedic surgery. It's kind of like a white man's club, essentially. So I found more mentorship in dermatology. They were like Black physicians, and they were in executive positions. So I got really inspired by those dermatologists. So that's kind of how I got into it initially. And then also, I think with Thank you. You guys heard me know which ones, yeah. Right, cool. And then, so for the second part, for dermatology, I think your skin is kind of how people initially see you all the time. So being able to make people extremely comfortable with how they present themselves is something that's really important to me. So that's kind of why I think dermatology and kind of stuck with me.
Okay, that's something that. So for me, I'll start with something I've been reflecting on a lot lately. If the dream is in your heart, you never lose it. So since I was a kid, I always wanted to be an educator as well as a screenwriter. And I sent Tim a picture. You have the picture?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Visual storytelling. And so I was going through all of my stuff a few weeks ago, and I found when you're in elementary school, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so for me, I want to be a teacher my first and second grade year. My first grade year, I had a teacher, Mr. Dupree. My first male teacher, but also he's the first male teacher at my elementary school. And so it really stuck out to me. And then the news article talked about how usually you see women as teachers. And so as a kid, I also wanted to be a teacher and screenwriter. I believe being a creative doctor is soul work. It comes from the soul. It's something that God has placed in my heart. And so now I'm just living out those dreams.
It's on.
Any Midwesterners in the house? Okay. Excluding Michigan? Okay, sorry, Tank. We only have a working relationship. Y'all, I went to law school, but I never wanted to be a lawyer. I never wanted to go to law school. My family, we're musicians. So I really, I was so blessed growing up. My parents knew I wanted to go to Berklee College of Music, and they never discouraged me from that. They were just like, that's beautiful, you should do it. It was actually my mother who was like, Lea, you're great at so many things. She's like, you also have a little for academics. And she was right, but I thought she was crazy. I said, Mom, nobody does both of those things. So I picked the phone. So I went to Berklee, but while I was there, moms know best. And I realized there were so many issues that, so Berklee students, y'all know Berklee, like Berklee College of Music, my classmates, they were signing record deals, they were rolling, still are, I'm real proud of them. But a lot of them couldn't afford attorneys. And I was like, why are these people that I love doing so well, but are still getting screwed over and they're so talented. And so I just saw this natural connection of me wanting to learn more and bridge that gap, maybe stand in it, help fill it. And I finally am able to do both of these things. So the academic side and the creative side. So moms know best.
You know best. I'm really kind of curious because you all taking that time to pursue an advanced degree takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of dedication. So I'm really kind of curious, especially as you all have embarked within your creative endeavors, your creative journeys, how you feel like your advanced degree and skills that you learned within that translated over to your creatives and your creative outlets and some of the work that you do on that side. Anybody can take it?
Y'all, I take a lot of notes. I'm just checking my notes. Yeah. Even though I do that, I'm probably just improvising it to me. So my first note literally says I talk a lot, which you probably already surmised. But one of the soft skills that I feel like you bring to creativity or bring to the academic side?
Creativity.
Okay, yeah. So bringing to, I think for me it's asking questions and being able to like be really creative in the way that I'm thinking and the questions that I ask. Like on the legal side, I can bring, I don't know, musicians, we're everywhere. We're always thinking of things, hearing things, all that type of thing, right? And when I'm in the academic environment, it's not really, I really say conducive to that sometimes. So sometimes it can be stifling, but I feel like sometimes it's an asset, so I'm proud of that, and vice versa. And I know we're gonna get to the next part of that question. But yeah, I ask a lot of questions and I feel like that's a strength.
For me, I would say my creativity and imagination. I quit my job as an academic, so I'm 100% screenwriter right now. So when I was a professor and a high school English teacher, I brought my creativity and imagination to the classroom. So they give us, curriculum that's pretty much whitewashed, which we all know. You have characters who don't look like or sound like us. And so teaching my students about Black language, tapping into their Black literacy skills, bringing social media, pop culture, and hip hop into the classroom, it takes creativity and imagination. And so any project I'm working on, I always bring those things to the forefront.
So I think I make a lot of skincare content and just kind of simplifying things, dark spots, how something works. So being like in the 8 to 5, I'm a physician, I'm explaining this to people all the time about how it works and being able to translate it very easily in layman's term, I think is something that comes easy to me. So talking about it for a patient, talking about it to another attending, talking about it to another physician, talking about it to just someone randomly on the street. So being able to kind of translate how I talk to each person, meet them exactly where they are. So
yeah. I'm gonna kind of jump around in the question a little bit and take this creative autonomy, but you all talked about just how it translates in particular into the creative work and the creative endeavors that you all do. But I'm really kind of curious if there were any obstacles, kind of going back a little bit, right? I think we talked about one of the things for the Black Doctors Creative is to kind of strip ourselves outside of this. You have to be one way or the other. So I'm curious about the obstacles that you all face within your own advanced degree programs and how you navigated that and how you had the gumption or courage to continue to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this work and this program isn't going to restrict my creativity.
So with medicine, it's very conservative. So we're not even allowed to be on social media. So there's some residency programs where like people are not allowed to post on social media. They're not allowed to do brand deals. So like every time I'm posting, it's kind of like, oh my God, how can you do that? How does your residency program let you do that? And I actually only made my Instagram or social media unprivate once I matched into residency. So matching is like you interview for different residency spots. Once you get it, like open an envelope. This is where I'm gonna go for the next 4 years, etc. And that's when I unprivated my Instagram because then I was like, okay, now I can like really be myself. Because like for so many years I couldn't like post freely. I had to be like, oh, because they're gonna think this or they might not match me. So now that I'm able to post freely, a lot of like attending. So it's like, how do you go to do that? So there's always people that are like sending my posts to each other in like different chats and like bringing my like it's like I'll walk into a room and I'll give my voice. And I was like, oh, they play something I posted on TikTok, which can be really scary. But I think medicine is very, very conservative. So I'm not even supposed to be here, be doing all these things, but somehow I'm able to. So I got into the right program, thankfully.
So I'm in a very interesting space right now because like I said, I quit 2 years ago. So I'm in a space of transition. I'm in my pivot space. And so for me, I'm learning that I'm not my problems and how to detach from those things and, always practice joy, no matter what, just having joy. Because I think in life, we'll always have challenges and issues. I'm learning that now. And so one thing is like my lifestyle. I had to learn to change that. It was an obstacle for me, going from getting paid every 2 weeks to, now I'm doing consulting work, but it depends on if I'm doing consulting gigs. So having to change my lifestyle, keep going, because I was thinking like, oh damn, should I go back and actually apply for some jobs right in academia? Then I thought if I did that, I'm also giving up my faith. And so just learning how to always, hold on to God's hand. And when you do that, things do work out. And so I was going through it like last week, but then today I got a phone call like, hey, you may have an opportunity. And something like, just, staying, faithful. And just remember that at the end of the day, like, God has your back. If you believe in God, looking for it.
The Lord.
No question. And then, for me, look, can I be real, y'all?
Yeah.
Be honest. Or I can be real, yeah? Okay, yeah. Well, I was asked to do this panel today, so forgive me. But I'm glad I can be real, because to be completely honest, I feel like in every space that I've been in, especially over the past 10 years, college, law school, everything in between, it's hard for me to feel comfortable. Like I'm so used to feeling uncomfortable. And now that I'm older and learning more about myself, I'm learning to break down why. And I used to think it was my problem. Like I used to think because of what I'm doing, I'm wrong, I need to do it this way. And I'm realizing, no, I can take up as much space as I want. So my identity, I'm a Black woman, I'm neurodivergent. In creative spaces, I can be seen as very academic. In academic spaces, she's too creative, she's like out there. So I think the challenge has been learning how to feel comfortable being myself in these spaces and pulling that comfort in that space back to me and in my direction and making that room instead of saying, oh, I have to conform, no, I can show up in this space in the way that I am. Like I can show up this space and contribute. I can do that. It's definitely a process for sure, but I think that's been the biggest challenge for me so far is how do I show up as Lea? I'm working on that. It's a work in progress.
We appreciate you being on the panel, and we appreciate you showing up as yourself. I'm really kind of curious to hear from you all, in particular about this thing I kind of heard of, especially with Black folks, when you get these advanced degrees and you go to these Ivy Leagues or these majority white institutions or historically white institutions, there can be this thing of going to places where you feel tolerated but not accepted. So I'm kind of curious about how you all have navigated that, if you have felt that. If you have felt tolerated and not fully accepted as you are, your full identity, the multiple layers that you all bring, and how did you navigate that?
Well, I just realized I was better than all of them in the room. I went to Mayo Clinic Medical School, which is like, oh, Mayo Clinic, whatever. And just to be able to, there's the highest correlation with being like a dermatologist is that your parents were dermatologists, not like anything else. So like most of them were like, all their parents were like physicians, and they've kind of just been shown whatever path to go to, and they have like a lot of resources. A lot of people like, oh, I need to channel this person. They're able to do all those steps. So for me, I was born in Nigeria. My dad's a plumber. My mom started out Target cashier, and then they grew to like, my dad's still a plumber, and then my mom is a psych nurse. So like growing up that way, and then somehow finding my way to like the same room, I just know I had to be better than all of them. So that was just a fact. So So I think just always constantly remembering that, because there's a lot of times where there's like, oh, you didn't know this, you didn't know that, just because of like the environment that they grew up in. That's like, oh, well, like I'm still here with you right now. Like, what's going on? So I think that was really like what kind of grounded me, is like, oh, like I really worked hard to be here and I'm deserving. I think it's hard to like remember at times that you deserve to be there, you're supposed to be there, even if they like make you feel like you're not. So yeah.
I'm glad you said that. No, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm in a space, I'm meant to be here. I know who I am, I'm a risk taker. I've always been that way since I was a kid. I've always known that I was different. And so how do you lean into your uniqueness, basically, and your, weirdness? And I've always been that person. And so I feel like if I'm in this space, I'm meant to be here. I'm probably better than you anyway. That's what I see. I mean, going from pretty much like a white elementary school, same with high school and college, even being a professor and educator. Yeah, I know my shit is pretty good. I know my shit is solid. So,
Yeah.
I am who I am.
Y'all had a lot more confidence than I did. I was calling my friends. I probably could use friends like y'all. I struggled with imposter syndrome like the whole time through Berkeley. So I studied writing and production. There are Black women in that major, and I'm happy that when I left, you started to see more trickle in. But when I was in that major at Berkeley, no, there were no Black women. And then I was a piano principal. No Black women in the piano department, which is crazy because Black women cook on piano, like that's crazy, right? I just feel like in all these spaces, there's imposter syndrome at Harvard too. Just being there is wild, like to go to Harvard and to get in. And to be completely honest with y'all, to be real, I applied like 3 times. And I finally got in 3 times. But, and I'm proud of that. But at the same time, it was really hard to be in that space and just not really believe for a minute that I should be there. But what I learned, and I'm gonna wrap this up, is you can't really ask permission to take up space. Like when I started to get the idea to go to law school, I talked to people and everyone was like, nobody has done that in your position. Nobody has come from Berkeley to do that. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. They're like, it's gonna be hard. I'm like, everything I've done is hard. Like, I'm just gonna do it. How many people are the first? Just the first in something. I know y'all are. I know there's a lot of firsts. They didn't give me that statistic. I had to literally bust some doors down the admissions and go, how many Black women have come through? How many Black women? Oh, we don't keep those statistics. Okay. Am I the first? Like the record saying, recent history that you made the first. So go get your statistics, go bust your doors down. Don't ask for permission. Take the space.
All right, I got 2 more that I'm opening up to the trial. But I'm really kind of curious, in particular, you all talked about, y'all talked about the confidence that y'all had. Y'all talked about aspiring to have a certain level of confidence and then reaching that point and navigating different spaces. So I'm really curious about, especially now that I'm about to be done with my program, correct? How you all practice, and I know people talk about this, but I really want to get into this. Like, I really want to learn a little bit about how you all practice and prioritize self-care. Because people talk about self-care and stuff like that, but sometimes it's just buzz term. It's like, oh yeah, like when I started my program, it was like, make sure you're taking care of yourself and, it's gonna be good to go. But then it's like, I need this paper at this time, I need this deadline. If you can't make that, then it is what it is. So I'm really curious about how you all prioritize self-care. What does that look like? Because I know it's different for each individual, but how do you all show up for yourselves in the midst of your busy lives and navigating so many different spaces?
Are we taking care of this?
I like to go out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's my form of self-care. Like, it's my hobby to like go out to flushes and like it's like I love it so much. If I'm going to like a conference, I'm doing stuff like, oh, like let's go out. And that's how like I recharge. It's like, oh, like let me take. I also love naps too. I do like, Yeah, so I feel like I don't really eat rest. Like I don't like because even now, like I was editing a video to post and things like that. It just like keeps moving. And I remember those days I used to fancy like, oh my God, one day I want to be so busy and doing all this stuff. Cause I just thought it would be so cool to be busy. And now I'm busy. I'm like, it's not that cool. It's not that cool. So I don't think I rest. I just find things that energize me, and I do those things. But resting is not something that I can say I definitely do.
Yeah.
I'll say I do need rest. I take a nap every single day. I need that recharge, and I think it's okay to detach. You have to listen to your body, so I'm learning to listen to my body. I have the same routine. Get up every morning between 5 and 7, journal, meditate, pray, go to the gym, go home, then get my day started, take a nap. Also go outside, walk in nature. I'm in meditation groups. I have a life coach. I'm not in therapy now, but I've done therapy. Talk to friends, go out, I like to travel, but now that when checks come in, I have to put a pause on travel. But yeah, I think listen to music, to do fun things, just to stay sound. And as a screenwriter, I like to listen to people's conversations, hang out with friends, be inquisitive that help create characters. That's pretty much it.
Co-founder Dom is walking around, calling you out. Yeah, for me, are there any lawyers in the room? Funny chance? Any legal people? Okay, what's up? Present company excluded. Lawyers are really bad at self-care. No, it's just as a culture in the legal industry, it's more of what you said. It's take care of yourself, but there are not really a lot of guidelines and resources on doing that. For me, taking care of myself, the lockdown was hard for a lot of people. It was hard for me and my family. I lost some people really close to me. And so just mental health wise, going through that grieving process. And then I did something that everybody did, and I started law school. It's been great for me to handle that. But just going through that process, got really comfortable with going to therapy and counseling. And like I said, I'm neurodivergent. So if I don't take breaks, if I don't make space for myself, I will go down. I won't actually be able to do things. So I think for me, it's just taking the time not only to say, actually, I am at capacity for my law firm. Actually, I'm clocking out at the calm way over here. Hey, Leah, do you have a few minutes? Actually, I'm clocking out. I'll give you 5. But then I'm out. And then also for me, I was on the phone with my doctor today, setting up all my appointments for wellness. I'm like, let's get my referrals in there for, I'm going to see a chiropractor, which is life-changing. If you haven't done it, go see a chiropractor. And just all of those appointments, to me, that's also part of my wellness. Taking care of myself and not scheduling meetings on the days when I had those appointments or on those hours. So honestly, I just had to force myself to do it.
Last question I have, and I also want to open it up to everybody who's in the room, but our thing is Black Doctors Creative, right? And I think before we started this, I was thinking about what is a creative doctor? And what does that look like? So I want to open and give that question to you all. When you think of creative doctor, what comes to your mind?
I think of reclaiming your time. I think for 10 years, decade plus, we've been having to study, do all this work. Everything's focused on achieving that goal and being able to do something that's fun, that has no grade to it. It's just something that you can just do. It doesn't matter. No one's quizzing you and no one's gonna critique it. But some people might. But I think just taking back your time, you have doing whatever it is that feeds that little child in you.
I don't know if I'm going to read my response, but the questions that you reflect on, because I actually like the term y'all created, creative doctor. So I think y'all should, really trade. Yeah, you should. So what is creative doctor to me? A creative doctor is a researcher, teacher, scholar, activist, creative who embraces Black storytelling. It's someone who believes that Black storytelling, creativity, and imagination will the work forward. A creative doctor is here to create the world that is not yet the world we all demand and deserve. A creative doctor is here to create stories about people who are still living and breathing, the ones who are waiting for our stories to be written. So for me, that's what it means to be a creative doctor.
Taking notes on it. That was a whole bar. Students were asking to work for y'all. Excuse me. Oh my God.
Take your time. Take your time.
For me, a creative doctor, I thought I know what my definition is, and I'll share that. But our last event, and I'm seeing some of the people who were there last time, hearing you all say what you do, that inspired me so much. We had poets in the room, spoken word artists. We had visual artists. We have people. I met somebody who was like, I bake. One person, she was like, I sew. And I just think that's beautiful. No, like legit, y'all. Like we were exchanging recipes and showing like, oh, here's what I need, here's what goes into it. I mean, I think that's beautiful how gifted you all are and how multifaceted that you all are. For me, I think the best way to answer this, I'm finally in a place where I feel like I can finally do both parts of myself. And for me, in the past 24 hours, that looked like I was in my closet recording a song that I'm releasing, just laying down the guitar part and the vocals, I'm fixing myself. And then today, I helped out a really well-known Black actor, one of their copyright issues. And that made me feel good. And so, yeah, like I said, mom's the best.
So I wanna open it up to questions if anybody has some in the audience. But before I do, I just wanna take a second to just appreciate everybody who's in the room in this space.
For sure.
This is powerful. The fact that y'all have your doctors or aspiring to earn your doctors. And we're Black, you know what I'm saying? We're unapologetic about it. And we in this room and we take up space. That's powerful. Like, I'm from Detroit, right? Like, and I said, I didn't see my first doctor until I got to college. And then when I got to college, I was like, oh, I can do this too. But it was just being exposure is expansion. So you don't know what's out there until you're exposed to it. So seeing each and every one of you in this room, for me, is inspiring. And I'm getting excited to seeing y'all in this space. So I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate this panel for coming up here and sharing some wisdom and insights. And now, I want to open it up and just really get deeper into it. If folks have questions or any comments or questions or concerns.
It's not all sunshine and roses. So like, y'all, come on, we can get a little bit real, a little deeper, feel free to ask some questions.
I have a question. I got to back off that. Good job. Jeremy. So my name is Preston. I'm one of the co-founders of the Raising Organization. I also want to echo what Tim said, that it's amazing to see all y'all here. Thank y'all for coming out. And like Lea said, I know it's not all sunshine and roses. And I think on both sides, on the academic side, on the creative side, people, I think when they think of a doctor, they think of like, oh, you're so smart, you walk in the room, you tell people what you do, people love you, and they don't know like the work it took to get there, they don't know the long nights, they don't know about the grind. I think on the creative side too, you tell somebody, oh, I'm a writer, or I'm a content creator, they always think about like the glam, they think about like the free stuff, they think about all of the perks that come with it, and they don't see how hard it is to maintain that, right? And so my question is gonna be, if you had to talk to somebody about the creative side of you and what you do, and maybe some of the stuff that's not so bright and glamorous, what would you say? Somebody who wants to maybe do what you do, what do they need to know about going into it so they're prepared?
So as a content creator and like full-time resident physician, so I have to work 8 to 5, and then the rest of the time I'm filming. Everything is content, and it can be a little cringy, like recording yourself, asking people to record you. And then also there's like a lot of editing that goes into it. So it's not like, oh, like let's pop up and record the video, you have to edit it. You have to think of like new trends and things that's going on. So I think it's kind of like a constant thing. I'm always thinking of what else I can post, what else I can create. And everything is content, which can be annoying. It's like, oh, this is a good video. Like, I'm gonna do a little B-roll right now. So I think thinking of it that way, like you're constantly working, and it's not like a thing that you can like check out of. So like in residency, 8 to 5, I'm clocked out. But like for content creators, you're always kind of like thinking, always editing. It's like, what is the next post? So kind of like chasing something with content creating. So it never really stops.
I'll say being disciplined, particularly coming from a writing standpoint, and I believe discipline is the strongest form of self-love. So remember when you say yes to something, you say no to. So if your friends tell me, hey, let's go out tonight or let's do something, you say yes to that. You say no to your writing, you say no to your dreams, to your craft. Now you can have a life and do things, but I think at the same time you have to put in the work so that God has something to bless. So you have to put the action behind it and have some movement. And so for me, it's been practicing, just being disciplined and showing up every single day.
I think I struggle with that discipline. But also I struggle with like organizing and prioritizing things. And in every area of my life, so especially my career choice, the struggle, law school was hard, y'all. Yeah, I know. Some people choose to do it. School is hard, let's just be honest here. But coming out of law school, the scary part for me was taking seriously that I wanted to do both of these things, so arts, music, and the law, and how to practically carve out the space for both. And for me, the way that looked, starting to trust in God, is not going the way that most of my classmates went. And so I turned down the real cushy, big ball type job. And that was really scary because there was a lot of security that went with that, let's be honest. But oh my goodness, it's this thing over the past, I've been here for 8 months, right? And going on 9, really happy. And it's been scary, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of inconsistency with everything, housing, everything. But I realized over the past month, I finally carved out this niche where I work as a contractor for the law firm, so I get to set my own hours, basically my own time and everything. And I have free time to pretty much everything else. And so it was worth it. It was scary, but I think that's the reality, is it can be scary to carve out the time. That's why I admire you going full-time creative. That's amazing.
Man, I'm gonna walk around. You say your name, fun fact. You know what I'm saying?
Hi everyone, my name is Camila. I'm an OBGYN. And I'm a content creator as well, and I just started a business, so I guess I'm a founder. So thank you. It's been really cool. Can I bring up controversy? And I don't know, do people know what's going on with Lady Spine Dog? Wait, what? Okay. This is, okay. Okay, so Lady Spine Dog is a very popular neurosurgeon, content creator, and she's in the middle of this huge conversation and being currently canceled right now because of her, she's not, so. And I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to know the Black opinion. I really wanted to just talk about this because we are Black doctors and we're entering creative spaces. A lot of us are starting to associate ourselves with brands and businesses and trying to figure out how to monetize so that we can do part-time doctor instead of full-time doctor, because the way I'm working 8 hours a week still is the same. But what the controversy is that there's these anti-kickback laws, and why is a neurosurgeon that's making $900,000 selling us protein shakes and being the medical director of a compounded GLP-1? And so it starts to get tricky and messy when we are always, unfortunately, seen as our title first. I do think Black people are held to even a higher standard when it comes to professionalism. So I'm actually really kind of surprised that it is really fun. Probably has to go over 1 million followers, I think.
Yeah.
Like that. So my question is, and I would love to know the lawyer's opinion on this, just the lines when it comes to monetization of your craft, your creative journey, and the oath that we practice, which is we do not want to blur the lines when it comes to our recommendations and our trust, basically our trust. estimating positions? And how do we navigate this as Black people? We have to be even more careful. And yeah, we'd like to hear y'all's thoughts.
Great question.
Yeah, so yeah, so she's a neurosurgeon that has like 1 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. She makes a lot of money off social media, but then she's also a neurosurgeon, so she makes like more than $500,000 a year. So she said she got in trouble because, like she was saying, she's like a brand ambassador for protein shakes and then also for GLP-1s. But again, it has nothing to do with her job as a neurosurgeon. So like, it doesn't really make sense that she's getting kickback for this. Cause like, it's like she's like, oh, like, well, I'm about to do your brain surgery. Like, hey, you want this protein? Like, she's not doing it. So like, it's no, but now people are like, oh, like, and then people also like, how can you like be greedy, essentially? Like, how can you make even more money off protein shakes? Like, with all these things. So it's like, what is the line between one, like, I'm a brand ambassador, but I'm also a neurosurgeon, but these are not two things that I'm crossing. So, what are your thoughts? I think it's crazy. I don't think so.
Well, first of all, slight disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer yet, but I gotta pass this bar. So this is not legal advice, this is not constitutional advice. I'm gonna have to look more into that, so I'm first time hearing. But I'm curious, for lawyers, there are so many ethical rules about just anything, advertisement, everything. Is there anything like that?
Definitely.
So there's usually a difference between like cosmeceuticals and pharmaceuticals. So in pharmaceuticals, like things that you can intake, like things that are prescribed, versus like cosmeceuticals, which is like CeraVe. So usually for dermatologists, we do more so cosmeceuticals, but they are like California laws, like against like let's say if I prescribe you, I don't know, Botox, not prescribe. If I give you Botox and if I prescribe you something that I think you need, but then I get paid for it, that's like, there's laws against that. But there's no laws against like cosmeceuticals. Because I also had to talk to a lawyer during my residency, because I was like, hey, there's like a Winlevi, it's a prescription acne medication. They wanted me to be a brand ambassador. And technically, since I can prescribe that medication, there might be some drawbacks or like some fallbacks, so I couldn't work with them. But if it's like CeraVe, at some I cannot prescribe. Anyone can go get CeraVe. So there's those laws, pharmaceuticals, but like a GLP, she technically could prescribe it as a neurosurgeon. So then it's kind of like you're getting paid for prescribing me. So is it like really in the patient's best interest, or is it in your best interest to get money for prescribing me that GLP-1 that you're a brand ambassador for?
I'm gonna actually defer to you. But I'm not afraid to acknowledge. I gotta read more for our answer. But I'm curious, so in your line of work, have you seen her content?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
So really good.
No, your content.
It is amazing too. It is amazing. Yeah.
I'm curious. Have you had to grab? I just kind of want to hear what you have to say.
Well, no, because like the things I just stick to things that if it's over the counter, like it's over the counter, so I focus on that. But then if I'm giving like recommendations for like oh, you have this condition, I'm like, oh, but like see a dermatologist or see somebody, because like I'm not gonna like recommend, because I'm not seeing you as a patient. But like, would you feel bad if like I was like, hey, like you have a headache, take this aspirin, but then I'm gonna get like $100 back. But like, would you feel bad? Like you needed the aspirin, but I would still get paid. Because I could also like, oh, maybe ibuprofen, but I used to have the aspirin. You know? How would you feel?
Yeah.
Make your mind.
Yeah.
I think it's a disclosure issue. I think you need to tell people, I have a financial interest in this company. However, my honest opinion is X. And if that's true, then fine, but people can decide. And in terms of people getting canceled, you are only canceled when you drop out. I see these white men all day, every day, doing all kinds of crappy shit. And then they keep showing up to the mic. And they are not canceled because they keep showing up to the mic.
Mila, has there been like any like medications that they've wanted that you to be like sponsoring them or that you
Yes. So I had like done Tampax and like pads, whatever, cool. But I got approached by like an emergency contraception company, I'll say that. Lots of money. And I was in residency at the time. I already knew I had to say no.
Yeah.
I wasn't even about to play with this game. And I said, just hold on until I graduate, because like maybe later. And the reason why it was actually an issue was they wanted me to be exclusive to them, even if it was for a short amount of time. And most people know like the most common emergency contraceptive, but there's others. There's copper IUD, there's Ella. So I could not say that this was the only thing I'm going to be endorsing. It's just not true. So I didn't learn the lines in that department. But still now, actually, I feel like I have a little bit more responsibility to my patients. I feel weird, and but I do know that like, of course, I would love to collaborate with this brand. So it's not like, I know the disclosure thing is a big thing, but specifically for Black providers, we also, that's tricky. We're in this community because we want y'all to trust us. So then we start to align with these big brands and businesses. I wonder if it's going to be an equal cutback / just, people like us that are on social media, we actually have like an even bigger responsibility when we're being as public facing. So I'm lost. I don't know, but yeah.
Side note, I feel like it may be helpful for us to create a space. I don't know, when we discuss regulatory policy issues that we're facing in our communities, because I don't know, it seems like we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so the two, one right here, Dr. Ndagasi.
What you had to say, brother? Wait. No, Jay, what you had to say?
Oh, Nay, where you from? What you got going on?
How y'all doing? My name is Isaac Lowry. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. What up, though?
Everybody from Michigan, go green, whatever.
So, go blue. That's it. But first, I want to definitely give a shout out and understatement to my good personal, my two brothers. To where you at, bro? Dom over there and Tim. You know what I mean? So. This is a great and amazing space. And these two brothers, these two doctors for sure, are two individuals that inspire me over my time and our relationship with the building, right? Because I'm from Charlotte, I'm from the inner city, same conversation as a lot of people grown up, ghetto project kid, involved in various different activities, the whole woe was me type of situation, And we didn't get to see Black doctors, let alone Black professional doctors. You know what I mean? So, I was born in Virginia, and my folks is not too far from Philadelphia. So really getting to see young Black men, and our doctors, becoming doctors, that really changed my mind frame, my whole outlook, and these are my guys, you know what I mean? So I just want to give them thanks first and foremost for this space, and things that they're doing. They don't have to do it, they do it because they care and it's genuine. So shout out to my can I get a hand clap to the building? So that previous question and comments and whatnot was a pretty perfect segue into like my own speak. So my background is in supply chain management, right? So got 2 masters and all this other type of stuff, being certification for all that good stuff, right? Being professional, being a director, being all these things. But what I happened to start seeing, converse with these two brothers why they invited me over here is because I'm like, oh, okay. Being a professional in that space, I went to Michigan State. I was the only one in my class when I was in my master's program for supply chain management. Michigan State at the time was number 1 in the U.S. undergrad as well as graduate schools for supply chain management, right? And as I progressed and sat across from all these white individuals that didn't give a full lack of better words, no language, be relevant, damn about us or anything that we experience as Black people. I'm starting to understand certain things on the contract management, all this other stuff. So I digress to say, at this point, my journey, my next step is right now going to data science at USC for a postgraduate program. Then I'm going to USC for MLS program. I'm doing all that to get into a collaborative joint program, collaborative JD program at Stanford University. and whatnot. And again, shout out to these guys, they started to do it for sure. But I say all that because y'all talk about policy, right? And supply chain is something that's always an interesting space, right? For me, because we don't understand how this affects our community as Black people. So biblical aspects is skincare, food, everything. We're in LA, right? Y'all do know they say there's food deserts for a reason. It's food deserts because of, strategically placed to not be able to provide real organic and quality foods that, people can eat in a certain mile radius. That was very much strategic through redlining and all these other different situations, right? So, I asked this question about policy is, your spaces and other people for that matter, but definitely your spaces, how do you feel that you show up, right? Because one of my objectives is to speak before Congress, and then go into policy specifically focused around supply chain and impact on urban areas, Black areas, and Black and brown focused areas. So my question is, in these spaces that that you are the one-on-ones and have the voice to speak up for, our community, but you have to be very thoughtful, right, of how you speak up for your community, entering the Harvards and all the advanced schools and programs, and understanding the impact of a policy. How do you maintain yourself and be authentic yourself as a Black person, but still speak up and converse and influence the policies and things? And the same thing that you actually kind of added to there. And then we still gotta make our money. So I'm gonna be in policy and everything like that, but I spend a lot of money. So I need to make my change outside of my 9 to 5 and utilize my platform as a community to be able to speak on my topic and make money in however that situation may be. So, how does it work out for you all and your opinions and viewpoints on that? I know it's a long question, but yeah.
I'll say, one, you have to think about how you maneuver these spaces without losing your soul. And so showing up as, who you are, being a risk taker. And I think when you're a risk taker,
your experience, y'all perspective, your journey and experience and things, you know what I mean? So, is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm speaking back to. I was a professor of a predominantly white institution, and my work is grounded in Blackness. And the way I look at Blackness, maybe not the way my colleagues look at Blackness, or they always position whiteness, but I feel that Blackness is not always in opposition to whiteness. So I show up in those spaces and, speak back to white mainstream English, standard American English, how Black people have our own language and Black language, and what that is. And so, just knowing you are, being a risk taker, speaking back and up and against those things. Because once you start moving certain spaces, thinking about, well, if I say this, I may lose this grant, may lose this deal, then I think you also look at your soul. And so I think, just showing up and being who you are, like how do you inhabit a Black male body to move forward? And always asking yourself, am I being human? Am I staying human?
I guess a question to piggyback off that, what is that internal dialogue like for you when you have to, make that decision? Or for you, when you're like, oh, I'm in this conservative medical field and I'm gonna post this anyway. Like, what does the nuts and bolts look like for you jumping over that I guess, hurdle?
I feel like white folks are white, right? No matter what. White people be white. I understand whiteness. I understand how white supremacy operates in this world, in society, in education, outside of education, even in film and media. And so I think once you understand, whiteness, understand how this world is impacted by whiteness, and also knowing who you are as a Black being, understanding Blackness and how dynamic Blackness is, I think that helps you to show up in certain spaces in a different way because you know who you are. And I think you know how to speak back to it in a particular way, once again, without you losing your soul.
So as a first year resident in dermatology, we had a cosmetic session where we had, which I'm gonna post as soon as I grad, I'll post the whole thing. But so Dr. Obaji, he's like a skincare expert, and he was talking about. So it was a group kind of like similar to this. He's talking about his skincare products, and it was the dermatology residents, the plastic surgery residents, the chair of dermatology, also the chair of plastic surgery, and he's like talking about. Because what he does mostly is like hyperpigmentation. And then he was like, the first time I had to peel a Black person, and he pointed right to me. And I was like, and I was recording, it was crazy, I was recording, and then I went like this. And I was like, and then he like talked about like his experience and like how he was so scared. And he's like, because I'm the one, there's another black plastic surgery resident who I've never seen since that day, but I know she was the only black person there. But like he basically was like talking to me the entire time and made me kind of like a whole spectacle. And I remember just feeling like hot. I'm just like, what is going on? It's I think it was like a Thursday. I was like, what is going on? Like, I need to get out of here. And then like my co-residents were like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And one of my like good friends saw me like just how she was like, hey, like that's not funny, like what happened? Because people were like, oh, Thea, send me that video. And I was like trying to like process it. I just know I just felt real comfortable and I had to get out of there. So like it ended, everybody was like talking to him and like everything was normal and I just like left. And my co-resident was kind of the one who was like, yeah, like that was really not cool. Like he kind of like signaled out fear, like it was very racist, just like all the things, right? And so nothing was happening. Like Friday went by and like no one was really saying anything. And Saturday I was just pissed. So I wrote everything in ChatGPT. I was like, this is exactly what happened to me. Like this is bullshit. Someone needs to do something about it. Cause like they were trying to essentially get sponsorship from Obaji. And I was like, if y'all do this, like this shit gonna blow over. So I wrote that in ChatGPT and I sent the message, which is like, you're supposed to send a message 8 a.m. See, I CC the whole department, everybody. I CC the diversity dean, the chair at 3:21 p.m. on a Saturday. I was like, y'all gonna figure this out. And then all of a sudden, like everyone's replying. The dean, the chair almost like, oh, what would you have liked me to do? Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, how is the chair of the department asking me what, and I'm like, you're supposed to be taking care of me as a resident. You're asking me like, what should I do like to handle the situation better? Like, why would I know? Like I'm the victim here. And now all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, people were like, oh, I can't believe you sent that email. Like, Dr. Kelly, like she's trying her best. And I was like, what about me? Like this happened to me. And like all these things, all the emotions I felt. So I think one, using ChatGPT is very helpful. I think Claude is actually better than Chat, because I think it like kind of like makes it a lot more professional, better story time. But then also having advocates for you, because as soon as I sent that message, my friend also responded to it and was like, yes, everything she said was accurate, and then this is exactly all the timeline to it. And then that caused there to be like, all of a sudden the dean had to come. They couldn't take the sponsorship from Obaji anymore, so like we lost that sponsor, or he lost us, whatever. But I think just being able to dial in your rage and put it in terms that only they can understand, because they're only gonna understand the CC email. Because you're like, oh, I'm like, oh, like, what happened? But no, you need to document everything and understand. They only understand documentation and proof. So unless I have that email, say what happened, CC everyone, they're always like, oh, it's a serious matter. So document everything and use Claude. I got hired.
All right, we're gonna take 2 more questions. We're gonna make it brief. I'm gonna allow y'all to latitude to completion, but I want to be mindful of folks' time. We starting over here. I see your hand. I'm gonna end with you, my good brother, and I'm gonna let you go.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Zoe Ederaine. I'm a board-certified dermatologist and founder of Skin Prevention. Okay. And I want to echo exactly what you said and what you said, because as these new physicians, in residency, we went through trauma. And we were actually just talking about it in the car here. Like, when you really think about how we have to shrink ourselves, how we have to fit in that mold, how we have to be silent, I wasn't CC. I could go through my program, they were CC me and not of it. So, we have to shrink ourselves in this way. But then, you come out of it and now you're in this powerful voice. Like you are the patient, the doctor that they want to see. You're the one that pick. So it's now like this strange power, but you're like, oh, I'm used to shrinking. I was on private all throughout residency because God forbid I'll post a picture of me smiling and maybe I get the question wrong on rounds the next day. You're not allowed to miss. So I would say it's a strange power that we're navigating now in this new voice. And it's inspiring, but our patients need us. They need our discernment, and they're looking for it all the time. So that's all I have.
All right.
Thanks, sir. I want to thank Dr. Bernard Reyes for bringing me out, and then Dr. Tim having this. I did have a question about when nobody's knocking at the door, how do you go out and find the opportunities for people to be like, oh, hello?
Could you say more?
I mean, so I like being a content creator, being a creative. When the season is not always like bearing the fruit and like being able to give you what you want, how do you feel like, yo, I gotta regenerate, I gotta go back out there and get to it because nobody's knocking at my door, nobody's calling me, nobody's emailing me. What do you do to be innovative to say, we back out here, let's do that?
I think you're talking about resilience a little bit, like just a little bit. I see that as like elasticity. Okay. I don't know, for me, I wish I could say that I had like a solution because this is something that I struggle with all the time. And I've been really struggling with it this past year. So like to paint a vivid picture, like I said, I turned down a big law job. And I just felt like God told me, if you want to do something that you've never done, you have to do something that you have never done. And that's the path that you have to take. And I'm like, okay, that's scary. For me, I don't know, I applied to so many applications. I applied to so many jobs, just as like a Harvard grad. And this shows you just how messed up things are. I want to say hundreds, no lie, and maybe a few responses. And half of them were mostly like, call us when you have 2 years of experience. And I'm like, what do I do? And then I failed the bar exam. Now, granted, California is one of the hardest exams, all right? You talk to the lawyers, especially like the Black Law Association, which is why I'm in intro. A lot of them have great stories, like I had to take it 5 or 6 times. And that's inspiring. They're very resilient. A lot of people are. But that was the question that I had to be asking myself this past year. It's like, okay, I can't be a lawyer, which I've trained for the past 5 years to do. I can't necessarily make money where I am in my music right now. Like I could, but I need to eat this week, so it's a little bit of a ramp it up period. And it really was me pivoting and doing something that I don't want to say and look down at anybody who's like a paralegal, but it just wasn't something that I had been training for or that I felt like I would ever be doing. And I pivoted and I was like, okay, let me do this. I have the skills. I want to jump in. It's scary. It's not what I've been studying to do for the past 5 years. Clearly, a lot of people are better than I am, but that was a part of the pivot. And it opened up this beautiful door where I was able to actually start, like I said, being a contractor and doing things on my own time. And it was this amazing gift. And I have all this time to study the bar, do music, run my startup. And so, I don't know, that resilience, that elasticity, go with that. Because it can take you places you never thought could happen. You gotta let it happen though. I'm gonna let you go. I actually had an answer to the last question before we pivoted. I want you to go first. I just want to say for the policy folks in here and people who are pushing, like, especially the people in the education space, education is a huge thing. And at Harvard, I had so many friends. I was a part of it's really a legal aid organization. And I helped represent a lot of people from low-income communities, immigrants with wage disputes, housing issues, all the type of thing. And my friends were super brave about pushing policy and education to the point where, like at Harvard, it was really dangerous to say certain things. They would get doxxed, they would be used online, jobs would pull their applications back if they said they supported like Palestine or something, and the war is crazy. But my friends really inspired me in the way that they found this loophole. Sometimes as lawyers, you can't post certain things on your account or align with certain things or whatever, because of ethical reasons. But education, that's the loophole. Push the education. If you have resources for rights, any area that you're in, post it. Okay? Education is so powerful. Like for me, I'm boycotting Spotify because they don't pay artists enough. And they need to stop getting away with that. And most of my friends thought I was crazy at first, but now everybody on Spotify is crazy. So it's like, push the education, push the resources, push the information. That's one of the last bastions of hope that we have. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Push the education. Okay. But go ahead.
That's good, that's it. Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm good education. Always. Anybody else wish to click on me a few more minutes?
Yes.
What's on y'all's mind, let's go.
Thank you, appreciate it. Actually, I have two different things. Number one, on the CCs, I CC'd and they said, we don't care. So if anybody knows how to deal with that, please do let me know, because they still don't care and I want their necks. So let me know about that, lawyers, holler at me. So that's for the CCs. And then the other thing, back to the creative, more kumbaya type thing. So, just like being Black is not a monolith, neither is my creativity. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, and I want to do this. I want to be, well, I am an academic and a scholar, and I want to publish, and I want to present, but I'm also a singer and a songwriter and a poet, and I called myself acting for a minute. And then I'm like, okay, but in order for me to do these things, I need to release content. And I'm like, I don't even know how to create a good video. What do I do? I'm like, okay, this is not a good angle. How do I get this? The lighting is bad. Oh, look at that on my face. So these are the different things I'm going through while I'm trying to figure these things out. And while I need the discipline in order to do these things, I'm like, that's also another skill set. So while I am trying to publish and present and write a song and sing, how do I also market myself on social media, and who teaches me how to make this content? Because I'm in 5K, 4K, 19K, I don't know. Tell me what y'all get, please.
For like the 5K, all of that, you can learn that on TikTok. You can just sound like, hey, I want to make the clearest video. This is my phone. Like, I have an iPhone 15. Like, how do I film? You can just put all that in TikTok with lighting, like what time of the day to film, what camera lighting to buy. So you can Google all that. That one's fine. That one's easy. But like for like, what do I post? Like, how do I market myself? I think it all just comes with practice. You just gotta keep posting. Like they can like you and I just keep posting. It might suck, it might not suck, but you just find out. So you learn through posting. That's the only way. If you can overthink, like, oh, I don't want to post it. It looks this way, this looks this way. But a million other people can be like, oh, this is the funniest thing I ever saw. This is like the greatest thing I ever saw. But you're kind of the one that's in the way. So like, let other people judge it, but at least put it out there and say like, you tried. But if you never tried, we don't know you tried. You think you tried. You didn't try. So yeah, just post it.
Sophia is the expert, but I'm kind of in your shoes, like from a practical perspective of someone that doesn't come naturally to, and I'm like writing down everything she's saying. For me, it's like I said, I struggle with like staying organized and being consistent in things. One thing that I realized for me, literally film what you're doing, especially if you have. I'm not sure what your medium is, your specialty.
I am an educator, and I present on different things with social justice and equity and education policy reform.
That's really cool. And you sound like you have a really cool speaking voice. Do you like podcasts? Do you speak in front of people a lot? Is there something that you do?
I speak in front of people, but I do not podcast.
And I'm sure you have a lot of really important things to say. And the way that I see that, you could literally, am I wrong? You could literally film yourself giving those tidbits of your text. Something that you no doubt do to whoever you know anyway. You know what I'm saying? 30 seconds of you on an issue. Am I wrong?
No, and I also think that we study so much and like we're around people who know just as much, but like there's a million people that do not know what you're talking about. So simplifying it, because like a lot of people don't have as much education as us, but you can simplify it like, oh, this is this. And there's like a million people that want to learn exactly what you're talking about. Don't assume everyone knows, because a lot of people do not.
One thing I started doing, that's a really good point. One of the main reasons, like I said, I got into this is because I have friends who can't afford lawyers. And unfortunately, the legal field is extremely strict about giving advice when you're about to sit for the bar or something like that, or if you're not representing someone. To me, this is a form of systemic inequality, because obviously, as soon as I got the law degree, there were people in my family who needed help right then. They needed help before I started. So for you to tell me I can't give them advice, how are we really stopping? But That's why I think education is so important, because there are no rules about me getting education. There are no rules about that. And one of the things that I've started to do, I need to get back into it, but I started posting contract law and copyright tips in my TikTok. And I'm like, if you're a musician, here's reading to look out for if you sign any contract like this. And I feel like that's helpful. I feel like you have a lot of helpful tips. And you can do it in 30 seconds. And I think that would be a really cool way for us to get to know you, and I'll follow you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. At your record, doctor.
Appreciate you. Round of applause again for our panelists. Round of applause for yourselves for asking such wonderful questions. I feel like I learned a lot. Yeah, so with that concluding, we are going to now open it up to a networking opportunity where folks are able to just chop it up because they're doctors, lawyers. We're gonna get a good picture too. Oh yeah, we're gonna get all the content. Yeah, all the content. But we're gonna have an opportunity for folks to just share and chop it up with one another because there are law professors at USC here, there are professors over at UCLA here, there are folks who work at Mayo Clinic here. Like y'all doing your thing, man. So I'm just excited and honored to be in space with you all. But definitely don't leave without connecting with another person who you didn't know beforehand. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get a couple of pictures as well. Yeah, so
For work.
yeah. We create on the spot. So.